ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. It's another edition, another episode of Reliving the Lights, a Friday Night Lights rewatch podcast. My name is Josh Kuipers.
My name is Anthony Hookman.
And we are here to talk about episode 9 of season 5 tonight.
So Josh, you finally went and saw the new Jackass movie today. Tell me about that experience.
Yes, I did. Well, it was me and I think 4 other people in the theater at the 11:40 showing of Jackass on a Friday morning. And I'll tell you this, by the time we left, I felt like we were best friends. All of us in that theater. Saw a lot of pig semen. Of course, saw a lot of male genitalia and just absolutely laughed my ass off the entire time. So it was great. Really the only Jackass things that have ever been too much for me have always been semen related. So
your fill.
Yeah. We had more than enough of that, but seriously, no, I just laughed my ass off the entire time. It was great. At first there was the awkwardness of I don't want to lose my shit while in this semi-empty theater. But then I felt like after the first couple sketches, we were all just oh, forget it. We're all in. So yeah, it was great. It was a good time.
Without spoiling too much for the audience who hasn't potentially seen it, and by the time we release this, it'll probably be streaming somewhere. But what was your favorite segment?
Oh man, do you have one right off the top of your head?
I do.
Okay, tell me yours first.
The one that really stood out to me is the one where they called it the Silence of the Lambs. Where it was they turned all the lights off in the room and had the night vision camera for a number of reasons, but up there was the fact that they just had Chris Pontius standing in the background doing the Buffalo Bills thing and just kind of had that really huge smile on his face. I mean, that whole skit went on for the perfect amount of time. Literally just when you thought okay, they've reached peak funny, they'll go into the next room and it gets funny again. But I think the thing that really sealed it was Pontius being there for no discernible reason.
Nope, just to dance. Just to dance in the dark. Yeah.
Chris Pontius is one of those guys who I can just see him and I just start laughing. He is just one of the most naturally hilarious people. For some reason,
he's all shenanigans all the time.
Yeah.
Is Chris Pontius.
He's if Tim Riggins was more rugged. I can't put he's if Tim Riggins was all shenanigans.
Yeah, I like that comparison. I can't think of one specifically, but I always love the more stunt oriented ones. Sure. So the one that really got me laughing this is not my favorite one, but the one that broke the ice for me, just completely losing it, was the human ramp or whatever it was, where they just had a bunch of dudes piled up on each other and then they made ramps.
Such a bad idea.
It's the stuff like that I love the most, or the ones where they go flying into a lake or whatever. So
right.
I had an excellent time. Had some Indian food by myself, went to Jackass by myself, went and grabbed some beers with friend of the show, Austin Ringling, and wife Kobe. So it was just it was an excellent Josh day that I had today. So top notch. Loving spring break these days. So all right, what are you drinking over there tonight, Anthony?
I've got the old standby, just a premium friendly beer.
I saw on Grainbelt's Twitter account this week that they referred to it as they would say that you have a bucket of primos.
Primos, yeah, premiums, primo. I have heard that before, but not as often as friendlies.
Yeah. It seemed that was a new one for me. It makes sense, but it didn't strike me the same way that friendlies do.
I suppose it's probably because the Grainbelt brand overarching is the friendly beer. That includes premium, the Southwest Cerveza, Northeast, Elite, and Grainbelt Premium Light. So
you got to be more specific.
To specify,
It's a friendly primo or a primo friendly.
Yeah.
I've got Bacardi Limon and Bacardi Limon and Sierra Mist because we got some Sierra Mist with our pizza tonight. And then I packed a cooler for the podcast. And in this cooler, I have Deschutes Fresh Haze IPA and a Sierra Nevada Wild Little Thing slightly sour ale. So that's a new one for me. I'm excited about those. Oh, yeah. Got to get zipped back up here. Keep the cold in. All right, that's what we're drinking. Let's get into the episode. All right, this is episode 9 of season 5. It originally aired January 12th of 2011. It was rated TV 14. Once again, clocking in at 43 minutes. What does Haven IronOak have to say about it?
Wow. Following a contentious loss, Coach Taylor decides to bench Vince for a game and start Luke at quarterback. Becky and Luke try to start their relationship over, but the seniors' recognition night scheduled for Friday's game makes that difficult. Julie continues her hiatus from school and visits Matt in Chicago. Epyck crosses a line during a tutoring session with Mrs. Taylor.
All right. Pretty straightforward there. Any notes on that?
I mean, notes, I don't know if that's the right word, but I do have a Movie Dude 2 synopsis.
Yeah, that sounds good. I just didn't have any commentary for Haven IronOak there, except for Becky and Luke try to start their relationship over, but the seniors recognition night scheduled for Friday's game makes that difficult. A was an awkward sentence. B, I don't know that that's entirely true. Because ultimately she goes along with the parents. So anyway, Movie Dude 2. I'm sure I'll have something to say about that. So
yeah, well, you'll have to forgive me for this week's and next week's Movie Dude 2. I did have to do both of these alone without the aid of my wife. So we'll see if I really need her help in the first place.
I see her perking up there behind you over your shoulder.
All right. Vince loses his job at starting quarterback because of his recent antics. Becky is interested in a new job after filling in for Mindy at the landing strip, and Coach Taylor plans a meeting about a potential new job. Meanwhile, Tammy gets hurt on the job, and Matt tells Julie to get a job after she spends several days in Chicago with seemingly no plans to leave.
It's all about jobs. Very good, especially sticking it to Julie at the end. Just the
I was
cherry
like,
on
where
top.
can I work Julie into this? And I was like writing it literally as I was logging in to this meeting. So I was like,
No, that's good. I like it. It really was. I didn't feel like, other than that one, you didn't have to work too hard for finding.
Right.
Well, Tammy getting hurt on the job or whatever you said, but
really the hardest part,
straightforward.
Yeah, the hardest part is just finding that connecting piece. And like I said, I was under pressure, so I just kind of threw it together. But I did kind of. Once I found job, I was like, yep, that's it. And I wrote the Movie Dude, or I wrote next episode before this episode because I just got done watching it. So that one might be a little bit better, but yeah. Would you say that I maybe do it better without Angie?
Better. I don't know. Angie's giving you the finger right now. I'd say you are perfectly capable on your own, but I do appreciate Angie's extra touch to the MD2 synopsis. It was excellent. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like if that was a strong 7, Angie probably could have got you up to a light to medium 8.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
A 7 is good though, you know.
Just FYI, two little thoughts. I still don't hate Julie Taylor, and I think we need to have the wives back on, just as
Okay. Putting my headphone jack back in.
Well, you're wrong about Julie Taylor.
Yeah.
I'm not opposed to having the wives back on one more time at some point. Maybe not a whole episode, but we'll get their takes.
We'll see.
All right. Thanks, Movie Dude 2. Nice work. This episode starts out with apparently the Lions lost.
It was very confusing.
Yeah.
Starting off.
I can't remember how this works. Did they go back and like flashback to the game?
They did. Yep. So the first thing we see is like Jess cleaning up the field after a loss. Like they're shutting the lights off on her and she's all upset. We kind of infer that the Lions lost, and then in the locker room, we've got Vince and Luke. They're arguing about the game, and as they're arguing, it kind of flashes back.
Right. Yeah.
To what had happened during the game, what went wrong. Yeah, there were some miscommunications. Apparently, at one point, like Luke misunderstood a play call, and they got called for too many men on the field because he thought that it was a play that he was in, and then he tells Vince like, "Sorry, I got confused because the defense has been carrying the game the whole game or whatever." So
they both sucked, but everybody's blaming everybody else. I think we hear like a Slam and Sammy commentary over top saying that all the hard work of this season has now gone to hell. Like, aren't they 8-1 now?
Yeah. Well, he's like the possibility of an undefeated season is out the window. But this is actually before that. We get Coach catching the team arguing and just kind of stares them down until they finally realize that he's watching them, and then just tells them, "Everybody grab your stuff and get the hell out of here."
That is the classic Coach Taylor move. It's like almost word for word what he said to Tim Riggins when he caught him on top of Julie.
Yeah.
"You get your stuff and you get out of here right now. Get your stuff and get out of here right now." He just does the teeth and the repeating and get your stuff and get out. But yeah, the Lions are in complete disarray at this point. I'm not so sure that realistically your season would be in jeopardy if you were 8-1, but all right.
But we do hear Slam and Sammy after that. We'd see there's a nearby like cordless radio that apparently is playing Slam and Sammy's commentary, and Coach grabs it and throws it in the trash. Although he didn't throw it that hard, I think it would have kept playing.
I think so too. I thought that same thing. I also thought Coach does know that you can turn radios off, right?
Right, exactly. Like, come on, man.
Someday that radio is going to say something nice about you again, and then you're going to want to hear it. So people are not happy. Next, we see that Julie is staying with Matt. She's like, I think the impression is that she's getting ready to go, but then she tells Matt, I kind of want to stay longer, if that's okay. And Matt very goofus maloofusly agrees to that proposition. So Julie's going to stick around for a while.
We had a coach's meeting. The assistant coach, whose name I can never remember,
Crowley.
Yep. He blames the loss on Vince. He says that Vince has kind of lost sight of the Lions. He's focusing too much on his college aspirations and trying to, get recruited. So it's hurting the team.
Yeah. For some reason that name there, as you know, there are other names in this series that will not lock into my brain, but for whatever reason, I can remember it because of Aleister Crowley.
Right.
So that has locked in my brain.
That's the only other Crowley that I've ever heard of.
Yeah. So which I like one day did like a day long deep dive into Aleister Crowley. When you get stuck on something, you're like,
oh yeah.
That dude was weird, obviously. It's into some weird stuff. The problem is Vince. Coach Crowley's kind of always the like old school, grumpy, this isn't the way we do things kind of guy, and he's kind of doing that again. But he is speaking some truth here, I feel like. Next, Epyck stops in at Tammy's office. She tells Tammy that she's like gonna fail Texas history class unless she gets a B- on the test. And Tammy's like, well, I guess you better cross your fingers for a B- then. Jeez, Tammy. But they do agree that Tammy's gonna help her study for this test, because if she fails that test, then she fails the class, and then if she fails the class, then somebody told her that she'll get held back.
She'll have to repeat the 10th grade.
Yeah. Next is Becky and Luke. Luke is complaining like about his mom and dad wanting to take him out after the game.
Yeah, Becky like tries to plan a date after the game, but Luke declines. He's like, I already have like plans with my parents.
Yeah.
And yeah, you know how they feel about you, basically.
Yes. All right, over at practice, we see Coach like giving the Lions a little talking to, saying, you know, the only thing between you guys and the playoffs is yourselves. That they can do it, but they got to get their crap together. He gives Luke Vince's red jersey, signifying that he's going with Luke at quarterback next week. Obviously, Vince doesn't like that idea.
Yeah.
So they have a little aside conversation. Coach basically tells him, like, you need to get your act together, respect me on the field, don't challenge me in front of the team, stuff like that.
Meanwhile, over at the landing strip, Becky has taken to apparently just hanging out backstage at the landing strip on the regular.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, she kind of is buddies with Mindy's friends now after the beauty pageant thing, I guess. But
like maybe hang out outside of work.
Also, I'm not sure that's legal.
Right.
You know, for a 16-year-old to be in a strip club. Pretty sure Landry had to go to jail because of that.
Yes. Did Mandy or did Becky say she's older than 16, isn't she? Or is she just 16?
Oh, we didn't.
I think
we nailed it down sometime.
Yeah. Because I mean, I don't know. Who knows? Hard to say. Anyway, not important.
Oh, but yeah, if she's 17, then she could be in there maybe.
I don't know. Doesn't matter.
Yeah,
anyway.
Okay. Still weird, regardless.
Yeah. They're all hanging out. Mindy shows up, but she's not feeling well. Becky is like, oh, I'll take your place. I've served before.
Yes.
Mindy is not into it, but the other strippers are very encouraging.
Yep. Yeah, because it's Mindy's turn to wait tables, not to dance. So
yes,
Becky does, or Mindy does ultimately give in. Vincent and Pa Howard arguing over the coach situation. Orville's trying to tear down Coach and tell Vince that he's just got to hang in there. Tells Vince he doesn't need to worry because ultimately Coach wants to win and he's going to play him because they've been doing a lot of winning with Vince at the helm. So don't worry about it.
Yeah. Basically tells Vince that Coach is bluffing.
Yep. Becky's waiting tables and making a lot of money, which makes sense because she is underage and men are awful for the most part. And so she's doing very well.
Josh gets political.
Doesn't matter if you're Democrat or Republican. Men can be sleazy in either parties. So
we get a scene of Coach and Tammy. They're discussing school budget cuts. And Coach mentions that he's got a meeting with Shane State down in Florida.
Shane State. Yep. So he's not going to be home for dinner. Tammy tells Coach that Epyck is coming over for dinner to eat and study. All right, next we see Coach telling Vince that he and Luke need to get together later that night, work on Wildcat stuff for the game, go through plays basically. Vince has a lot of questions about that. Why now? Kind of feels like I'm being punished. Am I being punished? And coach just tells him, I'm just asking you to help out a teammate.
Over by the practice field, Becky gifts Luke a brand new satin tie so he can look fancy at senior night. Luke kind of apologizes to Becky about being intimidated by his mom, but he also is like, you know how she is. She can be pretty controlling. So
yes, she does admit that's true. Expensive satin tie, good gift or nah?
For a I was gonna say for a high school boy, probably not, but I was gonna say maybe it is a good gift because the team is required to wear suits on
That's
game
true.
day.
He has to wear
However,
one once a week.
Luke is a senior and there's like 3 games left. So
Right.
maybe not that great of a gift.
Yeah, that's a good point. Now that I say that though, I remember some really awful gifts that I gave my high school girlfriend, that middle school and high school, that I still like cringe about when I think about it. Was not good at giving gifts as a middle schooler or a high schooler. So maybe I'll cut Becky some slack here.
Sure. Yeah, I think it definitely comes off as a like, I just made a bunch of money. What can I get my boyfriend? Here's something expensive.
Yes. Yeah.
Type of gift.
Yep. Next, Vince is griping to Jess about Luke and that whole situation. Jess basically just gets fed up with it and like, all you ever do is complain. I'm tired of it. Vince comes back at her. Is like, listen, I told you not to take this job anyway. If you don't want to hear me complaining, you shouldn't have taken the job. Says like, I can't trust anybody around here anymore. Like, I guess saying that he can't even trust Jess anymore. Jess does not receive this well. Understandably, tells Vince she can't stand being around him anymore and breaks up with him right there in the moment on the spot.
This scene had me wondering, I entered in my notes here. We didn't get like a proper send off for Landry, did we? What's Landry doing right now?
I was just thinking that when we mentioned him earlier. No, I have no idea. Did he just not show? Has he not been in season 5?
He has been. I'm pretty sure he's been in season 5.
Was he was in college or?
Let's see here. Go back into my archives. He was in episode 1 of this season, and he shows up again on episode 13. I'm going to go back to my season 5, episode 1 notes.
I do not have him. Well, I guess I better search for Lance as well as Landry.
Landry hanging out with Grandma Saracen is apparently on a goodbye tour before leaving for college. Grandma encourages him to keep playing music because he gives her the.
What the heck?
Yep, the MP3 player. So that I guess that was it. That he was saying goodbye.
Oh yeah.
So that was all he's doing. All right, now we know.
Yeah, he references the last waltz.
Oh yeah, he puts on the concert. Yep.
That's it. It doesn't say that he's back in any of the other ones.
He's in the finale.
Oh, he is. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. So anyway, Jess and Vince have broken up. So you're saying your reference then to Landry is that Landry's got a shot again.
Potentially.
Yeah. Somebody needs to let Landry know, and I'm sure he will hightail it back to Dylan from wherever he's at this point. Try and make his move. Next, Epyck is over at the Taylor household having dinner with Tammy and Gracie Bell. Gracie,
they're studying and they get interrupted by Gracie, who is just apparently in the other room by herself, unattended.
It's just holding a pen. She just like kind of wanders out, like holding a pen. I don't know. Epyck like so many people do, Epyck just lies straight to their face. We know that she is kind of a delinquent, but she says something about Gracie being cute, which is bullshit. But Epyck seems to have problems connecting with people, with humans. But whatever Gracie Bell is, she's got a gift with that species or organism or whatever that is. So she makes a good connection with Gracie, and they kind of hit it off. Julie and Matt out on the town next.
Yeah, they're kind of walking and talking about Matt's life in Chicago. Julie admits to Matt that she kind of feels like he has his own life here, and she kind of feels left behind, and almost feels like she isn't part of it. And he stops her and kisses her and kind of says, like, do you know how, I've been wanting to do that since you first showed up at my door or whatever.
Yeah. Which I was surprised at that point, because I just assumed that if she had, been staying for the week,
that something had happened.
Something had happened. But apparently they hadn't even kissed yet. So Luke is waiting for Vince to come study plays at the field house. Jess shows up instead. Luke kind of says, no, you can't bail him out like this. Jess says, this isn't about Vince. It's because I want to win. So they sit down and Jess helps Luke study plays and get ready for the game.
We get back to Chicago. Matt and Julie are in bed, presumably the next morning. Julie tells Matt the situation, what happened, kind of confesses to him about the TA. Yeah. Matt's pretty unfazed. It's pretty much just like, yeah, all right, like you, it's not like we were together or anything, like no big deal. And then they make a great decision to go get some bagels.
Were they getting bagels? I missed that. Yeah. Anthony, big bagel guy over here.
Love the bagels.
Yep. How's that slicer working? Just chops right through them?
Fantastic. Yeah, I use it almost every day. For sure, almost every work day.
Fantastic. Do you do the cream cheese, or what do you put on your bagels?
Oh, buddy. The Bagel Boy jalapeno cream cheese.
Oh, right from Bagel Boy itself.
Yep. Absolutely my jam.
Good call. Yeah. If you're going to do it right. If you're going to be a bagel guy, go all out and get the real Bagel Boy stuff.
Yeah. It's the jam.
What's the authentic New York way to pronounce it? Is it bagel or bagel?
I think it's bagel.
Bagel. Okay.
There's that whole like bit on Community, right? About that somebody says it wrong. I think bagel, like you got to pronounce the A because
bagel. I don't know if we have any listeners from New York. Let us know how to.
You still think that the best bagels come from New York? Where'd you get that opinion? 2002.
Where do they come from? The
the reservation. You've never had an Indian reservation bagel.
That's
right.
You
don't know what you're talking about.
God, I'm sorry. Jeez. I'm not a bagel guy, okay? Rookie mistake with the bagels. All right. Well, if we have any listeners on the reservation in South Dakota, let us know how to pronounce bagel or bagel. Next, Coach comes into the school cafeteria, finds Vince. It's apparent that Vince is in trouble. He pulls him aside, tells Vince that he is going to be benched for the game on Friday. He's not going to play, not like just going to start. Because I remember when I was in high school football and I missed practice for like freaking all-state choir or something. Mr. Hurt, Coach Hurt in this case, I guess. He said, well, I gotta punish you for this, but I know that football isn't your only thing, and that, you're kind of a music guy first and foremost. So I'm not going to start you, but you can go in the next play. So I sat out one play. I didn't start. But no, Vince is benched the whole game. It was not an approved absence from
Yes.
From practice. So he's out. Pretty bold move from Coach Taylor here.
Yeah.
Really
very
sticking
bold
to his
move.
guns. Very principled, I would say.
Yes, absolutely. Yep. Always doing the right thing, even if it's doesn't benefit him.
Yeah, you gotta respect that.
Mm-hmm. One of the faculty members tells Tammy that she believes that Epyck stole $20 from her.
Yes. It's the doe-eyed teacher, the one that, Tammy's close with, or has gotten close with. Yeah, so that's going on. We didn't mention this before, and I'm assuming that this is going to come into play later because we've heard multiple times in this episode that East Dillon is making budget cuts. So we heard it like earlier. I don't think we mentioned it earlier, but we heard it earlier in the halls. And then now Tammy, there's no paper towels in the paper towel dispenser. Tammy's like, budget cuts here, that. So I'm guessing it's going to come into play.
Right.
Maybe
earlier
a spoiler,
in the
but I'm
episode,
guessing it's probably going to have to do with Tammy's job. I'm guessing maybe getting cut. I don't know. Who knows what's going to happen? But
earlier in the episode, when Tammy and Coach are talking about it, one of them says like, yeah, Principal Levi is like the angel of death.
Couple real Levi heavy episodes we got going on here. Not always the case.
No. We got Mindy and Becky are talking about Becky working at the landing strip. Mindy reveals to Becky that she is pregnant again, and she is not excited about it.
No, not in the slightest. Becky tries to get her excited about it a little bit, but yeah, no, Mindy is not happy. Next, we see Tammy and Doe Eyes confronting Epyck about the money. Doe Eyes is being very accusatory, and I feel somewhat unprofessional, in my opinion. And Epyck is vehemently denying the accusations of her stealing money. Turns a little rough. I can't remember why it turns rough. Oh, because Doe Eyes says, well, you don't mind if I take a look through your bag or something like that. And then so she tries to take the bag from Epyck, and then they get in a little tussle, and Tammy ends up getting caught in the crossfire and knocked up against the glass and hits her head. Next, Vince is talking to his mom at the garden store about getting benched.
Yeah, Ma Howard tells Vince that maybe he doesn't need to listen to Ornette's advice all the time.
Yeah.
You remember my lesson of the episode a few episodes ago? Don't forgive your fathers. Coming into real play.
Oh boy. Yikes. Yes. She says that Vince has a good head on his shoulders, so use it. Next, we see the school nurse checking on Tammy. Tammy's really trying to downplay the whole thing. No big deal. Coach comes in, then security comes in, and Doe Eyes is still just being a real jerk about it. I'd started to trust Doe Eyes a little bit, and then she goes and pulls a stunt like this.
Yeah.
Security ends up taking Epyck away in handcuffs. Again, little excessive. Okay, next, Jess is working in the locker room. Coach walks by, hears her crying, sobbing. He reluctantly kind of goes back to check on her, but she apologized for crying. Coach says, you don't need to apologize. She does tell him that she and Vince broke up, and Coach like, I have 2 daughters, right? Says, yeah, I know that. All right, take all the time you need. So I don't know. In my mind, kind of a little throwaway scene there. I don't know.
Yeah, not much to it. I guess, just to show that Becky is bummed about the breakup.
Jess, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, Jess.
Next is practice. We see Coach telling the team that he is benching Vince.
Yep. Tells him that. We get some kind of just a few scenes of Luke struggling to handle the QB position.
Yeah, not going well for him. Matt gets back from, whatever, or maybe Julie gets back. Anyway, at the end of the day over in Chicago, we find out Julie spent the day just like going to museums and stuff. And Matt expresses a little frustration.
Have you ever seen the Bean in person? It's so crazy in person.
She's really hyped about the Bean.
Yeah.
We have seen the Bean in person.
That's true. Together.
Yep. But yeah, Matt expresses a little frustration. It's fine. Right. You go there, you see it, you take your picture. That's good.
It. Yeah. It was all right. Yeah.
If I
went there again the second time I went and saw it again, but there was way more people because it wasn't 6 a.m.
and like negative 20 degrees or whatever the hell it was.
Also that, yeah.
Yeah. I was gonna say if I go back to Chicago, I will, probably go check it out again. Yeah. I've been there since, and Lindsay and I went and checked it out, but yeah, it's a Bean.
Yeah.
But this is where he expresses that maybe Julie needs to get a freaking job or something. He's just expresses a little frustration with the fact that she's just kind of there and doesn't really seem to have a plan. He says he doesn't want to be her safety net.
Yeah.
It seems like she is just using him to avoid problems in her life back home. Says, I love that you're here. I wish you could live here, but you don't live here. And Julie storms out and goes for a walk.
Yeah. You need to live your own life, and that's at Burleson. And she decides she needs to go for a walk.
Yes.
Over at the Riggins household back in Texas, Billy is psyched.
Pumped.
About the new baby on the way. He exclaims, "My boys can swim."
Yes, he does. Mandy is not so happy. And I started putting her in my notes as Mandy because I feel like we got a little too pro Mindy lately. And again, I feel like she's feeling positive feeling towards Mindy Riggins lately. So just got to knock her down a peg. So I'll be referring to her as Mandy from here on out.
I support it.
She's not happy that she has to quit her job again because she got pregnant. She also mentions that kids are very expensive, et cetera, et cetera. But Billy cannot be deterred in his enthusiasm for this child. He says, "Riglet number 2 coming soon to a theater near you."
Hate that.
I'm also, when I typed Riglet into my Google Doc, it did not come up as a misspelled word. So I'm going to quick throw it into Google and just see, define Riglet and see if anything comes up here. Nope, doesn't come up. So Google just dropped the ball on that one, I guess. Or at the Taylor household, Tammy gets a call. Turns out they're sending Epyck to another school and putting her in a different foster home. Coach assures her that, she did all that she could for Epyck. She did the best she could. They talk about how exhausting it is working with teenagers. Coach tells her that when he was meeting about that college coaching job, he was thinking about how nice it would be to work with adults for once. I don't know if Coach realizes that you still work with teenagers in college quite a bit. And there is a big difference between 16-year-olds and 18-year-olds. But I don't know if Coach is really going to get the escape that he's looking for.
Yeah,
I remember in college, speaking as someone who has worked both in middle school and high school youth ministry and college. It's a lot of the same stuff.
Yeah, I was just thinking earlier today, and I don't remember exactly what I was thinking about, but it was something to do with my late teens and early 20s. And I was like, man, I was still a dumbass.
Big time. Yes.
Yeah, it's crazy what you can do just by being 18. What society allows you to do, especially, and what society, like, you can't even buy tobacco now at 18. Like, it was crazier when we were 18. But
True.
yeah, it's wild stuff.
Yeah, I don't think it's, like I said, don't think it's going to be quite the escape that coach is thinking. But the doorbell rings, interrupting them. It's Luke. Coach, it's kind of like, Luke, it's after 10. What the hell are you doing here? Luke tells coach that he needs to start Vince tomorrow. He doesn't think he can do it. And coach tells him to get on in here. But we don't hear what they talk about. But presumably coach gives him a little pep talk or something.
We now are at senior night the next night, 20 hours later. We see Luke kind of get introduced at senior night. He gives a little nod to coach. Not much of that scene, just kind of he's there. I think he's wearing the satin tie.
Yes, looking very nervous.
Yes,
the only thing that I
hanging with his parents.
Yes,
but now it's game time.
Yes,
Luke is not playing well, and somehow the Panthers are still winning.
The Lions, yes.
I'm sorry. Geez.
We got to do it at least once.
Yeah.
Out of curiosity, on my drive home from Sioux Falls today, I pulled up Clear Eyes, Full Hearts plus Booze just to see what they talked about, and they did the exact same thing. I listened to like 506, I think, and they did the same thing. They called the Lions the Panthers. So, yeah, Luke is getting his butt
Are we
kicked.
Still the better podcast?
I mean, presumably. Yeah. Oh, I couldn't listen
based on
to
what
it.
you listened to.
Yeah, no, I turned it off after like 7 minutes.
Sure.
Because I was bored. But
sure.
Not for me, I'm sure. I'm sure there are Clear Eyes, Full Hearts plus Booze fans out there that are probably listening to this right now. They probably listen to it because that came out in 2018. So
right. They're watching through again and they need their new fix.
Yes.
Exactly. And they found us.
Yep. Luke gets hit and fumbles and Tinker Stinker falls on it. Just wanted to point that out. I have in my notes, this whole Luke at quarterback thing seems like a very dumb move from coach.
It's a half-baked deal, but once again, they're still like they're
still winning.
They're up 13-10 in the fourth quarter.
Yes.
Until something, I think he throws a pick six, right?
Yes, he does.
Throws a pick six. Lions are down 16-13 with 2 minutes left. The crowd is cheering for Vince. We want Vince. Mm-hmm. We want Vince. Luke tells coach, he's like, you got to put Vince in, or like the only way I can do it is if I'm doing like, I don't remember what he's
running
this
basically.
Yeah, whatever. So he starts doing some keeper plays. He drives the ball downfield and he throws a touchdown pass to Hastings Ruckle. In the last second to win the game.
I had to go back. I was like, did that just really happen as time expired? Yes, it did. It happened as time expired. But him like running up the middle play after play. I've been playing a lot of Madden lately. Ever since I had COVID, I got really into Madden. And basically when I am in a situation like the Lions are in right now, I basically do the same thing. I play with the Vikings and it's just Dalvin Cook, 0-1 trap up the middle, just like 10 times in a row. We're just going to march this thing down the field. And that is exactly what Luke does. And then, hits that little pass to Mike Huckabee.
Well, I have been playing NFL Blitz 2000 for the Nintendo 64.
You're not running the ball on NFL Blitz.
I play. Oh yeah.
You do.
I played. Well, we'll get into it in a second. So I played basically an entire season in a day to the point where like my thumb hurt from the joystick.
Yeah.
So they took away DeBomb, which is the best play in the first game. Yeah, it's not in.
You take DeBomb and then you send the guy in motion. To the other side, and then
So it's not in NFL Blitz 2000, but I found a couple other plays, all of which involve sending a guy in motion. But actually, almost all of my games were like 0 passing yards and like 400 rush yards. Yeah. Almost all the plays I run end up being rush plays technically.
Yeah.
And, I had like a 16 or like a 10-6 season, made the playoffs. Did end up winning the Super Bowl, but it was so I just got the first NFL Blitz in the mail yesterday, so I'm excited to play that to see, because in NFL Blitz 2000 they literally do not, no matter what team you're playing against, they do not let you get 2 scores ahead at any time.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Like
the rubber band mechanics or whatever they call that, where it's the same with NBA Jam, where they just start screwing you over.
Yeah. If you score, if you're up by 7 and you stop the defense on a series and you get the ball again, that defense will play like they've never played before and just completely you. It's crazy.
That's frustrating. I don't like that crap.
Yeah.
Okay, so the Lions win, but Orville Redenbacher is pissed.
Yes, he's furious.
Up in the stands. He tries to storm the field to come down and get to coach. Vince stops him. It's like, Dad, for me, chill out.
Yeah.
So he prevents him from getting onto the field and going after coach, but he is very mad. Luke is the hero of the game, which is kind of weird because everyone was hating the fact that he was in up until the last 3 minutes, but he's the hero. We see Luke's parents waiting outside the field house for Luke to, take him out for supper or whatever they're going to do. Once again, a 10 p.m. supper. And he finally comes out. He's got Becky with him and, basically invites Becky along, or tells his parents that Becky's coming along.
Why don't we make a reservation for 4?
Yeah. And his parents don't really know how to react or what to do with that, but they go along.
But Luke's dad is kind of like, yeah, sure, why not?
Yeah. Mom, not so much.
Yeah, but we know how Luke's mom is.
We know how Luke's mom is. We see Matt packing Julie up into her car.
Yep. She kind of says her goodbyes. She starts to drive off, and as she's leaving, Matt runs after her, stops her. She gets out of the car. They hug and they kiss. Chicago Tribune truck pulls up behind them, trying to get them to leave, or trying to, honking at them and stuff. So she ends up leaving again, and then the freaking truck ends up turning right where it is.
I noticed that too. I was like, so what? Chill out, because I feel like they wanted you to see that it was the Chicago Tribune truck. Oh, check it out. We got it. And then, but then it didn't make sense anyway.
Yeah.
We do have a music cue here. The only reason I know that is because it came up. This never happens, but it came up on my subtitles as Runaway by the National plays.
That is not what we got on our Shazam.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
I had the volume very low at this point because where was it? Oh, I was watching it while the kids were watching something on the big TV, so I couldn't hear what was playing.
Well, now I'm going to quick look at what IMDb says for music cues.
Yeah.
On this episode, because I wonder if it's one of those situations where that was the original.
Yep.
Georgia Rain, and no, the National listed at all on the IMDb page. So,
did you watch it off DVD or Netflix or what?
DVD. Yep. Angie actually Shazammed it for me because I was trying to take notes, and she got that. Otherwise, I probably would not have.
Nice. Way to go, team.
Yeah.
But anyway, it was probably originally the National, but that's the end of the episode. Roll credits. We'll be right back. We'll give out some awards for the week. Okay, we're back. We're going to give out our awards for the week. We're going to start, as we always do, with the Coach Taylor Inspo rating. Anthony, how inspiring was Coach this week?
I got to say, I think it was a strong week.
Mm-hmm.
We kind of spoke earlier about how Coach does the right thing, even if it doesn't benefit him, which I think is very inspiring.
Yes.
You know, him starting Luke in the QB position, which he clearly has no experience for at all. Very bold move. Him trying to relate to Jess as, trying to be kind of a father, not a father figure, but offer
understanding older male figure. Yes.
I think this is a strong Coach episode from front to back. I got to say a strong 8.
That's exactly what I was thinking. I don't think we see in our world too often where a person of power does things for someone else's good that does not have some sort of self-serving interest in it for them. So I find that very admirable.
Yeah.
I also thought strong 8. So let's go with that. Julie Taylor Hate-O-Meter. How much do we hate Julie this episode? It's not like a visceral hate like we have had,
right. It's not
weeks.
It's not an intense hate, but definitely if you're making Matt Saracen upset,
yeah,
you're doing something. That guy lived with Grandma Saracen for a number of years.
That's a good point.
If you can annoy Matt Saracen,
if Matt Saracen lived with Grandma Saracen and is going to tell you to get out there and get a freaking job, things are not going well.
Yeah. So this has got to be, I think, just a 5 is where I'm going to go. Not intense, but definitely, we definitely don't like her.
Yeah. No, I think that's a fair rating. I didn't have anything in mind, but definitely not a positive Julia, or however you want to put that. Not negative on the Julie scale for sure. We definitely don't like her, but not seething angry at her. Big Rig Beer Tally, any underage drinking in this episode that you can think of?
I did not
I don't think so.
Mark any. Billy had to have had a beer or something, but
Billy, yeah, that's a good point. Billy's always got a beer.
Probably celebrating the bird or a child.
Yeah. All right, nothing official. The Alamo Freeze presents the Matt Saracen Awshucks Goofus Maloofus moment of the week. We do have Matt Saracen, so I feel like we do need to give it to him. I think I put in my notes that when Julie asked Matt if she could stay longer, I put that he Goofus Maloofusly agrees to that. Like, oh, shucks, sure, yeah, that sounds all right. But I don't know if there's anything other than that. All right, the Donnie Buddy Garrity sleazeball move of the week. Anybody sleazing it up? Did we have Buddy himself? I can't think of anybody.
If we did, it wasn't a lot of Buddy.
Nope, I don't have anybody in my notes. Not a lot of sleaziness.
Not a lot of sleaze at all. Maybe Vince's dad.
That's what I was
Vince's
say.
Dad.
Yeah, this after the game. Not really sleazy, just kind of sucking in general. But
yeah.
All right, I think that probably means we don't have much for the Joe McCoy Stud of Suds Smug Scumbag move of the week either. Nothing super scummy. Maybe Vince ditching on Luke is kind of scummy. I don't know. Notable music cues, not the National. That was not in this episode. So I guess whatever we said that guy's name was, Axel something or another.
Christopher Axel. Yeah, there was one earlier in the show, which I'm guessing is that Ted Leo and the pharmacist one that Angie tried to Shazam and it just would not come up. There was a lot of dialogue going along with it.
All right. Outdated pop culture reference of the week. Anything we need to cancel in this episode?
I think giving bizarre gifts to significant others as a high schooler is that's timeless. So
So the opposite of
Yeah.
pop culture reference. Sure.
I can't think of anything else that was really time specific.
Mm-mm. Any quotes that stuck out? I did not note anything specifically.
The only quote that I've written down is Billy Riggins saying, "My boys can swim."
That's a good one. Also, Riglet number 2 coming to a theater near you. So maybe we just give the quote award to that scene of Billy Riggins.
I agree.
All right, I like that. Okay, who is our MVP of this episode then? Luke is the hero of the game.
Yeah.
And he sticks up for Becky at the very end.
Yeah, it might be Luke. It's definitely not. It might be Coach too, though.
Oh, yeah, Coach did have a good week.
Tammy's always in the mix, but this wasn't a super strong Tammy episode.
Yeah, she gets her kicked.
Yeah. It's definitely not Vince.
No.
Like, there's no Tinker, no Hastings.
Tinker Stinker did fall on a fumble.
That's true. I think I'm gonna give it to Luke.
Yes,
is my nomination.
I was hoping you were going to say that because Coach does have an argument, but I ultimately would go with Luke as well. Even though he didn't really believe in himself, and he was trying to convince Coach to put in Vince. Ultimately, he makes it happen, pulls out the victory.
A lot of humility, which we love to see.
Yes. Okay. Episode rating. I got to tell you, just based off of the conversation that we had on this and even difficulty in giving out awards, I'm not feeling terribly hot about this episode.
Yeah, it's definitely not a standout. This one almost feels like we're to the point of just running out the clock on the series.
Yeah. Man, all of these season 5 episodes are rated highly on IMDb. I feel like it's getting the final season bump a little bit or something. Because I'll just tell you, this gets an 8.4 on IMDb, and I'm not going in the 8s for this one.
No, that's too high. Like, I'm thinking like a strong 6.
That's good. Yeah. Because if 7 is good, I feel like this is just a little bit below like your average good episode. So let's go with a strong 6 for this one. Okay. Before we get to our lesson of the episode, I believe we do have a few social media shout outs. Start out by saying Grain Belt Beer responded to one of our tweets, which is the closest we've ever gotten to a sponsorship from Grain Belt. We had a little back and forth with our buddy Chris at Martin Blank talking about drinking Grain Belt, and Grain Belt was tagged and did chime in on that conversation. So shout out to Grain Belt.
Yeah. Thank you, Grain Belt. Still time to sponsor us. Friend of the show, Eric Punt, was he wanted to give his take on the Tyra versus Lila poll.
That he started.
That we spoke about on episode 505. Says, so I feel like I'm entitled to give my opinion on the poll when I was put a young B-team baller. First watching, my thoughts were, holy cow, Tyra is the hottest girl in the world. As I got older, I learned what beauty is, and it's hard not to be amazed by Lila's ability to be the most beautiful girl on the planet, despite being Buddy's daughter. Eric, I don't know if you know how acting works, but as I've gotten even older, I've realized that Tyra is a salt of the earth person. I'm giving off real Big Ten vibes. So at this point, Hashtag Team Tyra. Also, she played volleyball, so automatic win. Also, as I'm typing this up, realize how similar their names are. Couldn't have made that a little different. It is bizarre that they went so similar on the names. I think it's interesting that Eric and I had, like, we reached the same conclusions, but had very different journeys. Because I remember watching the show for the first time as a 18-year-old and being like, holy cow, Lila's the hottest girl in the world.
Yeah, right.
And I still, Minka Kelly, come on the show, still think Lila is very, very attractive. But overall, I think, like I said, I think we came to the same conclusion that Tyra is a better person, less annoying. If we're going pure just looks, real hard competition for me. Both beautiful, but I think we mentioned this on episode 505. Tyra being tall and blonde, I think would just edge out Lila for me.
Yeah, that definitely is a deciding factor for you for sure. Okay, we got to talk about this. Matthew Taylor. I don't know if you saw this because I responded to it, so you might not have seen this. Matthew Taylor tweeted at us and said, found out some inside information. Baby Gracie was actually played by two twins, one of which did not like Coach Taylor. Obviously, she can't be trusted. And I responded, I said, that's incredible. You got to source her a link. And Matt says, you're going to hate this answer, Mandy. Due to my loyalty to RTL, I will make up for it by donating to the Buddy Fund. So thank you. So Matthew Taylor has been cheating on us and listening to Billy and Mandy, but that is a pretty juicy little tidbit there.
That is. Yeah.
Thank you for listening to that podcast so that we don't have to.
Yes. Because I gave up after 3 episodes. I might try to jump back in just to see if we can get some interesting tidbits, but oof.
I can't remember why I was giving it another shot this week, but I was texting you, and just the editing alone is
just
terrible.
See,
I'm assuming they have people that are paid to do it. I am spending money to make this podcast, and I do a better job of editing than the people that get paid to make Billy. We are beefing so hard. With him, but come on the show.
Speaking of Matthew Taylor, I have to give him another shout out. He responded to one of my tweets, my personal account tweets last night. I tweeted, I finally watched the Kanye documentary. I waited until all 3 parts were released on Netflix. And I was doing my laundry last night, and I've had actually it's kind of 'tis the season, because as we record this, we are 1 week out from St. Patrick's Day. In just over 1 week, in like 1 week and 12 hours, the St. Patrick's Day parade will occur in Sioux Falls. And then I will begin drinking all day. This will be my first pub crawl in 3 years. First since 2019. Very excited. Love pub crawl. It used to be my favorite day of the year. Brookings always had a really good one, and I know I've been to the one in Sioux Falls before, and it's also very solid. And they have the parade, but one of my traditions on pub crawl day for years was I would get up as soon as I woke, like as soon as my body would wake up, which usually would be around, before 9 a.m. Crack a beer, and I would put on a mix CD that I had that was the best of West, the best of Kanye West that I made. I now have 2 of these. I have Best of West and Best of West Second Attempt, because now his discography has grown enough where I had to make it into not only that, I also don't have a functioning CD player anywhere outside of my car anymore, or a computer to burn a CD on anymore, which bums me out.
Yeah, sure.
But I put on that playlist last night, and it kind of like, first of all, I was like, oh man, like it's pub crawl season, first of all, but second of all, man, what a catalog, what a deep catalog. I had to tweet about it. I said, I finally watched the Kanye documentary. I regret to inform all of you that I am back on my bullshit. Posted a a photo of my just me listening to my playlist on Twitter, and Matthew Taylor, roundabout way of saying the story, is same. He said same. So fellow Kanye fan out there, Matthew Taylor, shout out. We appreciate the love.
Absolutely. He also gave me a shout out for sipping on that classic Natty Light the other week for the people. He said, we truly are the people's Friday Night Lights podcast.
It's true.
Billy and Mandy would never drink Natty Light on their podcast, but I'm not afraid to. Razzle dazzle. No capple. I think that's about it.
Yeah.
Good deal. Okay. That's it for our social media shout outs. Please feel free to reach out to us at Reliving Lights. We would love to hear from you. That leaves us with our lesson of the episode. So, Anthony, what's our lesson? What's our takeaway? What's the moral that we can take and apply to our everyday lives?
So I got to think about it a little bit. Do you have a lesson that you've cooked up? You're usually so much better about this than I am.
I don't pre-plan it, but it does usually come to me pretty quick. Let me take a quick perusal of my notes.
I don't want to I've already gone anti-dad too much. So I don't want to, even though Vince's dad is a complete asshole in this episode, I don't want to overdo it.
I mean, if you want to double down on the don't forgive your dad thing, you can just keep applying it until it's no longer applicable, I think. But if you are having a romantic moment in an alley in Chicago and a Chicago Tribune truck pulls up behind you and starts aggressively honking, don't worry about it. They're probably just going to turn anyway. So just have your moment, take your time, and they'll go around. It's fine.
It's a good one. It's a good lesson.
I have one more.
Sure.
Don't handcuff teenagers at school, just in general. Unless they have a weapon or something. Just
like that one.
Don't put handcuffs on kids.
If you were in high school and in a relationship and for some reason just came into a larger than usual sum of money, maybe try not to spend so much of it on some dumb gift for your high school significant other, because you'll probably end up regretting it at some point later in life.
I can personally attest to that. I can think of 2 specific gifts that I gave that just still to this day, probably I think about once every 2 weeks and cringe a little bit. So good advice. That'll about wrap it up for this week's episode. I'd like to take this opportunity right now, Anthony, to get something off my chest, actually.
Yeah.
I really want to shout out our listeners in the West Indies.
It's interesting that you would say that, because I also have a confession to make.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I've been thinking about this long and hard, and I think
God, you got me nervous.
I think I'd really like to shout out our listeners in Laos.
I will second that. I also want to shout out our listeners in Laos. Okay, man, but now
I'm so glad I said it.
It was brave, but I'm glad you did, because I felt the same way. Do you think we have made it up to our listener in Wales? Do we need to shout out Wales? Do we need to keep doing that?
I think we better. He has not responded on social. He hasn't said anything on social media.
I think he might be a long time ago.
I think he might be legit mad at us. So
okay. Well, okay, Niall, shout out to you, man. Please, if you're out there, just let us know that you're still listening. Even if you're mad at us, we just want to know where we stand, I guess.
Yeah.
So shout out to all of our listeners in Wales, but mainly Niall. All right. That'll all about wrap it up. Anthony, great talking with you again. What's our countdown? What do we got?
We've got 4 episodes left.
Oh, dang. Okay.
All right. Yeah, 4 episodes left. Sorry. I was looking down and saw that I've already got my pages pulled up for season 5, episode 10. And I was like, wait a minute, that's only 3 episodes after this. But that's the next episode. So 4 episodes left. It's crazy.
It's more than that. 1, 2, 3, 4. You're right. Jeez. Okay. All right. Well, thanks for being with us for another episode. Not very many left, but we're glad that you are still with us. We'll see you next time for another episode of Reliving the Lights, a Friday Night Lights rewatch podcast.
Let's touch God this time, boys. Let's touch God.